Here's my game 3 and total Ashes reaction. So as of recording this, Australia have just won 3-0, and I did a 2-0 reaction to after they won the second game for the Ashes, and now I'm going to do kind of my breakdown of the game and everything as a whole. So, first things first, obviously, the clean sweep by Australia, which not particularly unexpected. I think a lot of people knew coming into it how it was going to be a big task for England to try and beat Australia. I mean, when you look at the squad from literally like 1 to 13 on the bench, it is just immense. Like, looking at it, if you go, right, let's try and take out one player, their star man, and then that's it. I mean, who do you take out? Do you take out Cleary? But then there's Munster, and then there's Walsh, who practically, by himself. I mean, like Marky Mark, no longer Itawaze, he's just been on some absolutely immense form. Not to mention Hudson Young and Crichton just absolutely caused us tons of trouble. So, just threat across the entire pitch, realistically. So, kind of no excuses there. It was always going to be a big challenge. I think from an England fan's perspective, and a lot of what the England fans have been saying is that no one was under any illusions that it was going to be tough, and nobody was saying that if the squad picked was better, we would have won. But I think it certainly would have made things a little bit tighter. Big questions over the fact that Matty Nicholson didn't get picked, who before he got injured, so there is like potentially if he was injured then he's injured, fair enough, but before he got injured he was arguably one of the best back rowers in the comp, absolutely killing it. So the fact he wasn't in the squad and Bateman was an interesting one. Not to mention Junior December, probably one of the youngest up and coming forwards we've got. He had a dip in form during the back end of the Super League season, but I still think he should have probably been included. Particularly, hindsight's a powerful thing. He's pretty devastating, and I think a lot of Aussies were surprised, particularly seeing he played as Wigan, won that World Club Challenge, was pretty dominant, and he's massive, which, of course, always helps. I mean, some good things to come out of as an England fan. Jez Litton, what an absolute player. That was like an absolute world-class try where he managed to slip in behind the A defender and then even get a grubber kick off. After he dummies Reece Walsh, gets round Walsh, then grubbers through to Williams to score. That's probably England's standout moment in the whole series, which is pretty crazy. That was it, and that was in the third game, despite the big loss. But that's just testament to how good Australia's defence is. I mean, nothing can be taken away from the fact that there were multiple sets on Australia's line, and they just defended them just like incredibly. Munster just kind of outshone everyone, I think, in terms of the Australia side. I thought Cleary was quiet in this Ashes series, but probably because he just didn't need to be. Like, he's the type of player that he'll just do his job, and he didn't really need to do anything extra because Australia were just, on top pretty much most of the time. I think there was a couple of times in the second game and even the start of the third game where if England could have kept up the consistency of like their physicalness, I thought they could have done a lot better. But it just seemed to be that in attack we just couldn't finish the sets, couldn't execute. The halves were a bit lateral. I think George Williams probably won't get picked in the halves again. I'm not sure who will. But I think that's something that definitely needs to be looked at because, there's a question of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But if it's broke, why do we just keep chucking Williams in over and over and over again? Other good positive as an England fan was Morgan Knowles, who's actually going to the Dolphins next season. Was an absolute gun player the entire series. Our loose forward, he was just an absolute beast. I mean, the guy's he's like just about 6 foot tall, but he runs like for twice his size. He's putting some big hits on some of the forwards. Just relentless work rate. I thought it was a shame we lost Dom Young in the first game, seeing as then like he was a big loss. We put in Harry Newman, which he didn't perform. We put in Burgess, who, based on his form, should have played well, but to be honest, he had a bit of a shocker, realistically. A couple of penalties, a couple of errors, and I think you just can't do that when you're playing top flight team like Australia. Don't get me wrong though, I absolutely loved watching the Ashes series. I'm so glad it's back. It's just a great spectacle. Like, who doesn't want the rugby season to continue? Who doesn't want the international game to grow? Plus, it's a nice little prelude into what the World Cup will look like, and I think it's nice that England now know what they're up against, if they didn't already, and they can kind of prep for that. And Australia, we know they're still the dominant force, but obviously looking at the Pacific champs, New Zealand look really good. So honestly, you never know. New Zealand on their day, could they beat Australia? Can they even beat England? We don't really know where the level is. How far are Australia above everybody? And then is it New Zealand, England, Samoa, and then England, Samoa on the same level? But I guess we will see. That's going to be super, super exciting. I watched one of the World Cup qualifying games, Cook Islands versus South Africa, I believe, which I always think is funny because South Africa, you'd think they would have a good rugby league team, just from the rugby union players not being able to make the rugby union squad and then therefore moving into rugby league, but just doesn't seem to be the case. Although they scored just about one of the best tries I've ever seen from a scrum. They passed it straight out the scrum and immediately kicked. If you've not seen that try in the South Africa game, I'd absolutely say check it out. That was immense. But yeah, Cook Islands, so despite them not being good enough in the Pacific Champs, have easily put away that South African side and then qualified. But yeah, the Ashes has absolutely got me excited for the World Cup, which I think is going to be really, really interesting. I think Australia kind of don't even need to necessarily worry about anything. I thought their squad selection was pretty spot on. Some Aussie fans may say otherwise in terms of, no, we potentially could have brought this guy in or brought this guy in or, anything like that. I thought when you guys lost Isaiah Yeo, the scary thing is that it just doesn't trouble you just because there's so much strength in depth. Obviously with Paddy Carrigan can just happily come in and slot in there. But it's going to be an interesting World Cup. But 3-0's the series. This has been my little reaction to everything, the upcoming games, the finishing of the Ashes, and hopefully the Ashes comes back for many more years. I think they've already said that they're going to bring it back because it's been a success overall despite the 3-0 win. But if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. If you drop me a subscribe, that really helps me out. You'll get notified as well if you click the bell for when my next videos come out. And every person that likes this video, it pushes it out to more people, so that really genuinely does help. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. Cheers.